Hello and welcome to the OCVarsity Gridiron Show. I'm back. I'm your host, Jonathan Khamis, back from paternal leave, and to my left is Dan Albano. To my right, Steve Fryer. Guys, I have joined the Two Children Club. What do I have to look for here?
Expensive lifestyle.
Is that fair to say, Dan?
You need to look for partnership because right now your coverage area just doubled. So you need to pull. You got to get an extra DB or two. You got to go nickel coverage. You need to expand your coverage plans to handle this. Double threat now, dual threat.
It's an all-out blitz! All right, guys, let's talk about the second round of the CIF playoffs. First, we'll talk Division I. By the way, we're at Los Alamitos High School. We will preview their playoff game in the OCVarsity Gridiron Extra Show. This show will focus on Division I and Division II. First, guys, St. John Bosco at Santa Margarita. The Bosco Braves are 9-2 on the year. Hey, the Eagles' Chad Magyar had a great game. You were there, Dan. Had 122 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns. The Eagles' first playoff win since 2012. Bosco beat Santa Margarita earlier this year, 47-10. That was at Cerritos College on the 14th. Going to be a tough one for the Eagles, but can they upset the Bosco Braves?
You know, anything can happen out there. I would say the Eagles got to feel really good about that victory they got last week against Sarah. But I wouldn't predict them to win this game. But, you know, it was a big win on the road. They're a vastly improved team. These last 3 weeks, they've won 3 in a row. They're running it well with Chad Magyar. They got a great offensive line. A big question mark is, no Grant Calcaterra, the Oklahoma commit. He might be able to play again. When I say no, he's not full strength with his knee issue. I only had 1 catch last week. He's limping. The thing is that where Santa Margarita had the advantage last week against Sarah with the bigger offensive line led by Brett Nealon, Bosco's got a great line too, so it's going to be hard to repeat that.
Okay, Steve, we're going to go and talk about another Trinity League school in Mater Dei. They are undefeated at 11-0 on the season. They are taking on Vista Murrieta, 9-2. The Monarchs just steamrolled Tesoro last week, 69-0. Meanwhile, Vista Murrieta beat Bishop Amat, 38-24. I don't think it's going to be a shutout victory for Mater Dei this week.
Could be, though. My gosh, those Monarchs are pretty efficient. 10 possessions, 9 touchdowns against Tesoro last week, so they're pretty ridiculous. I did some numbers crunching on JT Daniels, the quarterback, by the way, the sophomore quarterback. He's on his way to setting records. Already got a couple in his pocket. 84% of his yardage is in the first half, and he's at 3,500 whatever. Closing it. Maybe get a couple more big games. Might get some single-season passing records held by Connor Manning. Maybe chasing down Matt Barkley's career record, and things like that. So it's pretty amazing what they've done. And they run the ball well, too, and they play defense great. I mean, Mater Dei just looks really gosh darn good right now.
Could be Rollo's best team ever, and that's scary. Dan, finally in Division I, Rancho Cucamonga will visit Mission Viejo. These two teams are undefeated. This could be our game of the week. This is going to be outstanding. Diablos beat Servite last week, 49-28. Matt McDonald had 5 touchdowns passing, and can't forget about Colin Schooler, 240 total yards. Hey, and the following week, if everyone wins out, we could have Mater Dei and Mission Viejo in the semifinals. That's friggin' nuts. But Dan, first of all, this week, Rancho and Mission, your thoughts?
This is an undefeated team. Both these teams are undefeated, both 11-0. So you don't have that happen very often. So this is a big time matchup, the 4-5 matchup. Helps Mission Viejo being at home. Rancho Cucamonga's got an outstanding run game. They're the second best team out of the Inland Empire besides Centennial Corona. So Diablo's going to have to stop the run big time, which I think they're capable. They fly around. They got 2 really good linebackers with Christian Lavelle and Colin Schooler, but they're going to have to play well in the defensive line, stop the run, and I think their offense is pretty much unstoppable. So they'll be fine, but. It's going to be a big one for the Diablos to try to get their 40th win in a row.
Yeah, that's wild. Rancho Cucamonga, by the way, beat Orange Lutheran 27-7. Los Al's going crazy behind us. What's going on? Okay.
They recognize Dan Albano. They're pretty pumped up.
He always gets this reaction.
It's Albano, guys. Yep.
OC Varsity guy on Twitter.
Pretty pumped
All
up,
right,
man.
let's transition to Division II, fellas. San Clemente will be at Heritage of Menifee. They're on the road, right? I mean, I don't think they're at Thalassa for this one. We'll confirm
They're
that.
on the road.
They're on the road.
They gotta
Okay, yeah.
make the trip out to Menifee, out in the Inland Empire near Temecula and so on and so forth, Murrieta and all that stuff like that.
Romo Land is their city.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Romo Land, legit.
Freddie Romo, former El Medina star. They named the
Not Tony Romo. Not Tony Romo. Okay, not Dak Prescott. I was just gonna say that. All right, Tritons beat Chino Hills last week, 36-16. Jack Shippey really stepped up defensively with 3 interceptions. Meanwhile, Heritage beat El Toro, a team you were high on earlier this season,
Yeah.
Steve, 42-13. Sherrod White of Heritage had 3 touchdowns. This is another great matchup. We're seeing a lot of these early on in these CIF playoffs.
You know, Jack Sears, who just recently committed to USC, kind of keeping that Triton Trojan tradition.
Decommitted from Duke, right?
Yeah, and I like San Clemente's chances in this game because I think they're playing really super well right now. You know, got their heads handed to them by Mission Viejo, but Mission Viejo does that to a lot of people, so don't feel so bad about that. You always wonder about long bus trips with high school kids. You know, and how much of the game do they leave back at at home and in the traffic, and they kind of lose it and stuff like that. But I think Coach Ortiz will have the fellas psyched up and ready to go, and maybe upset the #1 seeded team. So I think the Tritons got a great shot.
Okay, another game in Division II. Dan, La Habra, they may have pulled off the upset of the CIF playoffs. The Highlanders winning at number 14, Oaks Christian, 35-28. Madison Wheeler had 215 yards on the ground. First of all, Dan, your thoughts on that game and facing Redlands East Valley, who defeated Great Oak last week, 41-30.
I was blown away by the Highlanders. I feel like just falling over right now thinking about this. I know. I mean, that Oaks Christian team, a seeded team. I think they were 3rd in the division. Coach Mazzota said they were a Division I team playing Division II ball. They had a couple USC commits on that team. 3 interceptions for the Highlanders, but they play that tough schedule. And the number one thing too I thought about was the Highlanders have been struggling to run the ball, and to see Madison Wheeler run that kind of yardage, it really wasn't that they don't have good running backs. Madison and a few other guys can run the ball, but the offensive line obviously played super well, and that's been a challenge. If they can run the ball with their defense, Marcus Carrasco had a good game against Oaks, then they can win another game against Redlands East Valley.
There we go. Finally, Steve Fryer, your final thoughts.
Early in the season, La Habra, pretty much felt Wheeler, such a great safety. They weren't going to give him the ball too much on offense. I think they've kind of realized Wheeler's their best guy toting the football, so that's what they're doing. Smart. And you know who's improved a lot, and he didn't look so good when I saw La Habra play Tesoro pretty early on. Zach Fogel, the quarterback, playing pretty well right now. And so, they're running it and throwing it pretty well right now, and all of a sudden they're confident because they beat the number 14 team in the state, Oaks Christian. Yeah, La Habra kind of feeling pretty good again. And I talked to Coach Mazzota some today, and he didn't seem all that stunned. He thought, we just played a great game and just beat somebody.
He told me before the game, he said that he thought we were a good team, but we're not a great team. But now they're starting to make a case that they could maybe be great this year once again in the playoffs.
Yeah, can you believe it? How many? They got 6 CF titles over there or something like that, and
Frank will text you if you're wrong.
They see the banners and all the
a lot of championships at La Habra, no doubt about it. We'll catch up with Los Alamitos in Division 3 and Division 8 in the OCVarsity Gridiron Extra Show. That's it for the regular Gridiron Show. Thanks to Dan Albano. Thanks to Steve Fryer. Thanks for the parenting advice, you two. I'm Jonathan Khamis.
Get your sleep, Jonathan. Get your sleep.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. For all your latest playoff updates, check out OCVarsity.com, where we've got you covered.